Tungsten Tales and Darts Daily, as we're here to review day one of the Bahrain Darts Masters. I brought to you the preview for the event yesterday, and I'm happy to bring to you the results and all the stories from over in Bahrain today in the 6th episode of Darts Daily. Good to get these going nice and strong. Thank you very much for the support on the series so far. It's great to see so many of you involved and enjoying the series, and it means that we can bring you more and more darts content over the coming months. So we'll dive deep into this year's tournament, what we've seen today from day one and round one of the Bahrain Darts Masters, and we'll start at the top of the draw, and that was Luke Humphries, the world number one, the former world champion now, who was successful in his opening tie with Abdullah Saeed. In truth, it was a very, very poor performance from Saeed. He's not got a huge amount of pedigree, it has to be said, but you would have expected a little bit more from him against Luke Humphries, averaging just 62. But Humphries was absolutely superb. 6 out of 6 on the doubles, a couple of big checkouts, including a 144 and 103.6 average in the end from Luke Humphries to get over the line. Really important win to make sure he gets back in the winners column, and he'll be looking for a big tournament coming up. Facing him in the quarterfinals will be Nathan Aspinall. Aspinall, a winner over Zhao Chenzong, but we expect a little bit more from Nathan Aspinall, it has to be said. He was fairly unimpressive in the PDC World Championships, despite making that quarterfinal. And it was a similar story here. He gave Zong plenty of chances, some of which he didn't take, including busting a 140 towards the end of the match. But he was able to get the job done with a couple of legs in hand, and he'll face the world number one, Luke Humphries, tomorrow for a spot in the semi-finals. Moving to the second quarter of the draw, and Stephen Bunting back on the World Series for the first time in a little while, and impressive in his performance as well. A 6-2 winner over Nitin Kumar. The Indian thrower Kumar was really impressive as well, it has to be said. 92.3 average from Kumar, probably one of his best big stage performances, but not enough to defeat Stephen Bunting, who averaged 95.6 himself, and will head into the quarterfinals tomorrow, where he will meet Chris Dobey, a 6-0 winner over Basim Mahmood. Mahmood, more impressive than his other Bahraini counterpart, Saeed, with a 76 average, but Dobey, superb on the doubles, much like Humphries earlier in the draw, and a 6-0 winner. Despite his scoring power not really being there, Dobey was more than good enough to beat Mahmood, and did so in convincing fashion, 6-0. Moving to the bottom half of the draw, and Luke Lippler returning to defend his title, and it wasn't the most comfortable of performances and displays against Lourence Ilagan. There was a point in that match where it was 4-3 to Lippler, and Ilagan had chances to make it 4-4, and then it have made it a best of 3 leg shootout to edge into the quarterfinals. Ended up being a 94 average from Lippler, which is by no means a poor performance, but by his standards, he will expect to raise it tomorrow when he faces Gerwyn Price. Talking of the Iceman, he was early on in this afternoon's or this evening's session, and a winner over Lok Yin Lee. I think he was quite wary of what the Hong Kong thrower did at the PDC World Championships when he got over his first round hurdle against Gabriel Clemens. And he needed to be alert in this one, and he was. 91 average, again, not the best, but was there when it mattered, and got the job done against the Hong Kong thrower. Final 2 names into the quarterfinals of the 2025 Bahrain Darts Masters are Peter Wright, a 6-3 winner over Alexis Toilo. For any of you that watched that match, Toilo is a tough watch. It's not the speed of throwing, it is the throwing, the time in between the throws that makes Toilo a particularly tough watch, it has to be said. But Peter Wright, he stayed patient, and he certainly had to in that match, and he emerged a 6-3 winner. 91 average for Peter Wright. Will be looking to looking to go off the back of a fairly reasonable World Championships by the expectations that he had heading into the tournament. And look, what would it do for his confidence in his season if he's to go and get a big result over in Bahrain? And the final man through to the quarterfinals of the Bahrain Darts Masters is one of the local qualifiers, and that's Paulo Nebrida. He won 2 matches at the PDC World Darts Championships, including knocking out seeded Ross Smith before losing out to Jeffrey de Graaf in the last 32. And he's claimed another scalp here on the World Series, the first Asian player to win in one of these events, and the first Filipino player as well, and defeating a former world champion in Rob Cross to take his place in the quarterfinal lineup. It was not a good match, it has to be said. Much like Toilo, Nebrida is quite a methodical player, but when he gets that first dart right, he's a very, very solid scorer, and all he needed to be in that match was solid, and that's what he did. A slightly lesser average than Rob Cross, 4 points off of voltage, but got the job done. And he'll take on Peter Wright tomorrow, and he'll fancy his chances in that one of producing another upset. So we'll just quickly run through what tomorrow's quarterfinals are going to look like. We've got the former world champion and world number 1, Luke Humphries. He will take on former UK Open and world match play champion Nathan Aspinall in his quarterfinal match in Bahrain. We've got Stephen Bunting. He will take on Chris Dobey, fresh off his whitewash win over Bassem Mahmood in the second quarterfinal. He's moving to the bottom half of the draw. It's Luke Littler, the reigning Bahrain Darts Masters champion and the reigning world champion, will take on the former world champion Gerwyn Price. And the final quarterfinal will be Filipino qualifier Paulo Nebrida, fresh off beating Rob Cross in the opening round, will take on 2-time world champion Peter Wright. So if you're looking for predictions in terms of this one, I think Humphries is probably a reasonable bet to get through his quarterfinal. Bunting, Dobey, a very tough one to call though. Going off form, you would probably slightly have to edge Bunting in that one, but Dobey looked absolutely mint on the doubles. And if he produces that, I think he might be able to edge Bunting out of that. He's got a little bit of a bit between his teeth. It's his first World Series appearance, and I'd say Chris Dobey is the man to win that second semi-final. Luke Littler against Gerwyn Price. Well, Littler's going to need to be a lot better than he was this afternoon against Lourence Ilagan, as will Price to stop Littler. I think they will both be better, and I think Littler will be the one to emerge with the victory. And Paulo Nebrida against Peter Wright. Now, Peter Wright proved in his match this afternoon that he can overcome some frustrations against a slow player, and he's going to have to do that again tomorrow against Nebrida, and I think he will. So a semi-final appearance possibly on the cards for Peter Wright. It's worth touching on the format as well. Those first 2 rounds are best of 11 legs, going up to best of 13 in the semi-finals and best of 15 in the final. Quarterfinals, quarterfinals, semi-final and final, both played tomorrow, all played tomorrow night, starting at 4:00 live on ITV4. And that's not where the World Series ends for this opening month of the year in January. We've got the Dutch Darts Masters coming up in just over a week's time. Starts next Friday and Saturday over in Den Bosch. Fairly similar field to what we've got in terms of the PDC stars. Just Michael van Gerwen coming into the field, who's replacing Peter Wright. As far as the Dutch entrants go, the likes of Raymond van Barneveld, Kevin Doets have had a very impressive World Championship. And as I covered on the channel just a few days ago, Mark de Decker at the Dutch Darts Masters. Dimitri van den Berg is the sole Belgian in the field for that one. We'll close out the month, obviously, with the World Masters. I'll be there over in Milton Keynes. But before I get to Milton Keynes, I've interviewed many of the players that have come through PDC Q School. None of them live yet on the channel, but we've got 6 or 7 interviews coming your way over on the YouTube channel. So if you're watching this on TikTok, feel free to head over there, and there'll be plenty of content coming your way. Don't forget to leave us a subscribe on YouTube and comment your thoughts on who's going to win the Bahrain Darts Masters. If you've been watching on TikTok, thank you very much for tuning in. And if you haven't, go and follow us on TikTok, and we'll see you very, very soon for more Darts Daily content.